Welcome back, Leanaholics. I'm your host, Dr. Lean. Today I'm going to be answering one of the questions that I get very, very often, and that is, how hard is Lean Six Sigma Black Belt as a course? And I'm going to be honest with you right up front, and then I'll put out a disclaimer. One is, it's the hardest class in the entire Lean Six Sigma series, between yellow belt and green belt, black belt, master black belt. There is not a harder course than black belt. You say, well, wait a minute, what about master black belt? Master black belt, you get to, if you watch my video on what it's all about, you actually get to step back a little bit and work more on the people skills, right? You're interacting with C-suites and senior leadership and running enterprise implementations, right? So that's really, really difficult stuff in a very different way, very difficult. But when you're doing the Lean Six Sigma Black Belt course, you are working in heavy statistics. When you're going through the math portion of it, we're working with everything from the T-stat, the Z-stat, the F-statistic. We're working with chi-square, ANOVA, proportion testing, normal data. What do we do if we have non-normal data with like Wilcoxon and signed rank and all these other tests? And if you're like just kind of shaking your head at like, what did he just say? That's a laundry list of only some of the statistical analyses that we get to run in the classroom. This is a warning right here too. If somebody tries to get into a class like ours or other professionals like us, and you came from an online background where you said, oh, I got my black belt in video modules that I watched online, I'm going to go, oh, okay. All right, so you have no experience, you have no idea what you're talking about. So I can tell you right now, that I am a firm believer in online education, but I am for lower taxonomy. So what does that mean in relation to this tirade about how hard is black belt? Well, let's take a look for a minute. At Bloom's taxonomy, there are levels of cognition. So Bloom's taxonomy is like, how deep do we need to know this information? And if you look at the actual bodies of knowledge, and we follow Department of Defense, which is arguably the most stringent of the bodies of knowledge, you're going to find that there's different levels that you need to know. Now, that being said, I'm okay with lower taxonomy stuff being online training, and it's just online modules like the history of Lean and Six Sigma, and maybe developing a charter quite possibly, which is arguably I might not, maybe process mapping, things that aren't as difficult to teach necessarily. But when you get into these statistics that we're working on, there is no way you're going to watch video modules and walk away and say, yep, I can go ahead and lead a project and run a chi-square. I can go ahead and compare 3 averages doing ANOVA next week. I'm going to tell you, no, you can't. You're not going to run regression or design of experiments or any of that stuff without actually learning it in a classroom environment, even in a virtual but synchronous classroom environment. So I digress. I'm going to step back now and they say, how hard is it? It is an extremely hard course, but don't let this scare you away. Let this be a challenge to you. When you walk in there, let me give you a couple of tips for how hard it is versus is not. One of the reasons it's so hard is because stepping away from work for a couple of weeks is difficult, right? Stuff's going on during the day. If you're not in the game, or you're in a position where I'm working on projects and doing all this other stuff, but I'm going to make time for black belt, I'm going to tell you, wrong season of your life, my friend. That is not when you do it. You're going to have to be all in because the steps build on each other in black belt. And everybody comes into the class, thinking, I'm going to be able to work with data. I'm going to learn how to tell a story. It's going to be great. Yes, that's part of the introduction and what it is. And that's like the main focus of the course. But let me tell you, to get there, if you have no background in math, again, don't be scared off, but understand that when you're in there, you're going to be learning concepts at a master's degree and slightly higher. And you go, yeah, right, this is Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. I'm telling you, I have a master's degree, I got a doctorate, I've seen math at those levels, and I did not see some of this style of math until like post-master's degree. So you might learn some of these concepts in your undergrad, but this is really master's level stuff and higher. So again, let this be a challenge, not something to dissuade you from joining us in the classroom. But I do want you to understand that when you come in there, you've got to have your brain just wired for those weeks in the classroom together and just focused. If I could say anything, if you're focused and you pay attention and you put in the time, and you do the pre-work that we assign and the work in between the weeks, in between the classes, you're going to do just fine. Everybody who does that does a really good job and excels in the course. Those who come in and are distracted, it makes black belt almost impossible. If you're going to step out for a meeting, every other day for an hour, hour and a half, guess what? Leave the class. It's not fair to your fellow cohort because you're working on a simulation and stuff together. So you're all on a team and solving problems together. So black belt, I'm going to tell you this. So how hard is it? It's as hard as you make it. It is going to be a fire hose of data analytics and statistics and analysis and interpretation and translation, right? It's going to be a whole bunch of that. And we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on work. You're going to actually be working in a simulation, filling out all the tools that we learned, conducting all the statistics that we learned for inferential and descriptive stats, right? So we're going to be working with all this, whether we're in Sigma XL or Minitab. We're going to be working with the software, and we're going to be doing Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. But back to the point about you make it as hard as you want. If you're not mentally present, I'm going to tell you this can be the hardest course of your life, and it's going to be something that you won't really enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy a challenge, then black belt is the wrong class. Just even an example, if you have a small new baby at home and you and your wife are kind of losing some sleep and stuff, this isn't the class for you right now. It's not. You got to have your head in the game, and you have to want it, because black belt is the hardest level that we learn. So this is not a video to dissuade you from it. Hopefully it's one that makes you it motivates you and asks you to step up to the challenge. But when you're in that challenge, be present in that challenge. Because if you're present and we can tell you're present, we're going to pour everything we have into you. But if I call on you during the class and we're asking for an example and I notice you're not there, and the next day I call again for an example from you and you're not there, guess what? That class, we're going to expect you to fail then. That is how difficult that it is. Millions have succeeded in this course throughout the years, and millions more will in the future. And you can absolutely be one of them. But please do not walk into Lean Six Sigma Black Belt and think that you're just going to walk out. People with industrial engineering degrees and other engineering degrees, they walk in to the class, and you can tell some of them are a little arrogant. I already know this. I saw this in college. I've done this before. And then halfway through the Lean Six Sigma Black Belt course, they're going, holy cow, I never saw it at this level before. I didn't know it was used for this. I didn't see this before. And we're like, that's the point. If you come in there, just humble yourself, get your mind and heart in the right spot, black belt will be smooth. Be nice and easy. Just pay attention, be present, and pour everything you got into it for the time that you're in there. And I guarantee you'll enjoy it, you'll learn a ton, and it is absolutely the course for you. But if you're just not in that season of your life, I would wait until you are. And if you don't have the experience quite yet to feel like you're comfortable at leading a green belt project all the way through, black belt won't be right for you, because we're stepping up our game and taking everything you learned at green and magnifying it by 100. I hope this motivates you. I hope you step up to the challenge, and I hope to see you in the classroom.